talking about the giant corpse flower, Amorphophallus titanum. So the greenhouse here at Temple has around 12 corpse flowers right now. So this is one of our tiniest corpse flowers right now. This is a plant we grew from a seed from Dartmouth College. Let me look at date. So this is one that we grew in 2019. So you can see that it's obviously much tinier, and the leaves are also less divided, so there's fewer leaflets per individual leaf, as opposed to the more mature ones that get more divided leaves as they age. So right behind us, this is Lil Stinker. This is the second flower that bloomed towards the end of May last year. So you can see a relatively skinny trunk diameter or petiole diameter, but it has a much more pinnately divided leaf at the top. Behind that we have Big Stink. So this was the first flower that opened for us in the middle of May last year. Also now in its vegetative stage. It'll be going dormant in probably 4 or 5 months, depending on how mature it is. And then the other side of the aisle, we have right now our largest corpse flower. So when we repotted this one, the tuber was 37 pounds. At this point, it's probably close to 50 pounds or so. It's also the largest in terms of petiole size and height right now. All of those 12, they're from various sources. 5 are from Ohio State. We have some from Dartmouth College that we received as seed, and then one from the Chicago Botanical Garden. So last year in May, we had our first 2 corpse flowers bloom here at the greenhouse. They bloomed in mid-May. So in that time, they have gone dormant, and they have resprouted leaves. So they've gone through their complete dormancy cycle and are now in their vegetative state. When it goes dormant, it will lose all its vegetative above ground portions and look like an empty pot of soil. It'll retreat back into its underground tuber, which can weigh up to 200 pounds. So once they go dormant, they will remain in that state for 4 to 5 months, and then they'll regrow, and depending on the age of the plant and how mature it is and how much energy it has, it will either produce a new leaf and restart its second vegetative cycle, or it may enter its reproductive phase and produce a flower. So the 2 that flowered in May of last year, they were after that flower collapsed. They remained dormant for about 2 to 3 months, and they have since regrown. They are roughly between 5 and 6 feet tall right now. They have a single giant leaf, and they'll remain green for the next 3 to 4 months before entering its dormancy cycle again. So in terms of reflowering, corpse flowers can vary. It depends how much energy it takes for them to recoup what they spent on the flower. So it can be anywhere between 1.5 to 5 years. The main thing we look for in terms of predicting a bloom on a particular plant is how mature or heavy the tuber is. So when the plant is in its dormant phase, we unpot it and weigh the tuber. In general, a flowering tuber would be around 40 to 50 pounds. Right now, what we're surrounded by are the vegetative leafy stages of the giant corpse flower. Botanically, they're all a single leaf, one giant compound leaf, so the trunk is actually a petiole, and then the top is a divided leaf blade. So there's multiple things that make these plants special. So the main one is they're the world's largest unbranched inflorescence, or flower structure, which can reach up to 5, 6, 7 feet tall. They're also a critically threatened species. So they're native to western Sumatra, which is a relatively narrow geographical range and threatened by habitat loss. My main interest is just that you don't normally see them. They're a big draw for botanical gardens because you need a hot, humid greenhouse to grow them, so you normally only see them at botanical gardens and greenhouses. So it gets the name corpse flower from the fact that it smells like a dead body. It's pollinated by carrion flies and beetles, so that scent helps attract its pollinators. It can also produce its own heat, so it raises its central core temperature up to around 75 or 80 degrees to mimic a recently dead body and also help spread the scent further. The main draw is just how unusual it is. So from a botanical, horticultural standpoint, it's something you don't normally see. From a normal general public standpoint, it's a plant that smells like a dead body. Why wouldn't you want to come and see that? It's mostly that they're just weird and unusual, things that you don't normally think of out in nature. You don't normally think of a plant that has a 5-foot tall flower that happens to smell like a dead body. It's intriguing. You want to know more about it and why it does that. So following their current vegetative stage, over the next few months they'll start dying back or senescing, and then they'll enter dormancy. And we could potentially have a bloom in a year or 2. Really depends on each particular plant and how mature it is and really when it wants to flower.